Well, I had a subscriber here who's not happy with one of my systems. Says I can't make your system of mixing complements make neutrals. Every time I mix orange and blue, I get green, not gray. This is just too hard. There's no request here asking me to help, but I'm going to anyway. Well, I'm going to demonstrate to you what's going wrong and show you how to correct it because it really does work. It's just that you got to get the right colors mixed together. So, all right, I've got two blues on the palette and an orange. So we'll just start there. Now, in order to get neutrals or in order to get any neutral from two complements, one of those complements is going to be darker. Always, almost always, because they're cools and warms, and usually most of the cool colors we have in our tubes are dark as they come out of tube. Middle values are dark. Most of them are dark. So I've got two blues here. Now, first thing I'm going to do, and this is where you're going to begin to see what the issue is. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to value correct the colors before I start mixing. So I've got white here. And I'm going to get some more white down here. All right, so I'll mix this one first. I get it value corrected. Now, by value correct, I mean you're matching their values. You're getting those values of each of them as close as you can. And I see that paint is already hardened there, so let me get some more white out for this. I want to be sure I have enough to show you what's going on here. All right, now let's get a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to get a good batch of that, and just get it thoroughly mixed. Now we watch. It's difficult to compare values of a warm color and a cool color. And that's one reason why I like having the value. This is a middle value 5, middle value palette. Registers about 5 on that traditional value scale. And so the best way to do that is to squint. And I'm very close here. This is probably still a little bit darker than that, but I think it will work just fine. If it doesn't, I'll add more white to it. Same thing on this one. Now you see there, that was blue. I haven't told you which blue it is yet. So we're going to do the same thing here. We just pull this white into this blue and mix them together. Now you can see there are different blues. I hope the camera will show that. And this is usually where problems in color mixing begin. If you're not already accustomed to what colors do to each other, then you will end up calling a color, you'll call it more generally, you name it in your head more generally than you should name it in order for it to work for desaturation, for getting neutrals, because that's probably close enough. Now you can see the difference. This one is a green, a blue that leans towards green. It's a blue-green. And this one is a blue that leans a tiny, tiny bit towards violet, not very. But being next to this blue-green makes it look, makes it appear a little bit more towards leaning towards violet. This is ultramarine blue that I mixed with white, and this is phthalo blue that I mixed with white. So if you're just saying I mixed blue with orange, if you're not specific about which blue you've chosen to mix orange, it will go green. I'll just demonstrate that for you. So I'm going to go to the brush now. And this, you'll probably think this is sort of maybe too elementary. I said this is phthalo blue. I'll go on this side of phthalo blue, and you'll see it will desaturate to a point. This is the orange I have on the palette. Now, that orange might lean a little bit more towards yellow orange, but it's close enough to orange for what I want to show you. You see what happens here when I put this down here, it leans a little bit more towards green. If we put, well, actually it's leaning a little bit more towards what we would call raw umber or orange now, because I had the proportions. I got the proportions of it leaning a little bit more towards the orange. So we'll put a little bit more of that blue in there. And this is what usually happens when a person is trying to get a neutral between two. And so they don't get it in one time, so they'll pull one of the other, pull one of the mixed colors that you're mixing into it. There we go. That's pretty evident right there. You see how that's leaning towards green now. So if I add more orange, it's going to now look more orange. And if I add more of the phthalo blue, it's going to look more green. The reason of that is that phthalo blue is not a true blue. The phthalo blue registers right here on the color. And that's the reason I place so much emphasis on the color wheel. If we know how to use the color wheel as a guide, and I'm not talking about using those little old, all that computerized stuff that's on the front and the back of the center of most color wheels. That stuff is going to do you no good at all. It just it needs to be just cut out and thrown away. Use the color wheel with your eyes according to what color it does to color. And so orange being opposite blue here, I'm going to show you that in just a moment. I've always said that the complements will give you neutral, and they will. But if when either one of those colors is leaning in another direction, in other words, if blue is leaning towards blue-green, it's no longer blue, it's now blue-green. That's phthalo blue. It's not blue, it's blue-green. If it's blue-green, you see it's got yellow in it, and the red and the orange has yellow in it. So it's going to lean towards green rather than get absolutely neutral. So and then we're going to do one with the ultramarine blue now and show you the difference between the two. I get my brush washed out really good, and as always, squeeze the dickens out of it. Towel here. All right, now, so I'm going to go with the ultramarine blue. Now this, as I said, blue leans slightly, very slightly towards violet. So I'm going to pull the orange into it. And that orange I made there is a mixture of cadmium yellow deep and cadmium yellow light. Cadmium red light, I'm sorry. Cadmium red light is really a red orange. It's a red orange that leans very heavily towards red. Cadmium yellow deep is a yellow orange. So I need more blue. You see, now that's getting more neutral. And if you compare this with this on the palette, you can see that this is getting more and more neutral. And add a little bit more blue. As long as you can see any orange in it, that means it needs more blue. If you can still see blue in it, that means it needs more orange. Okay, let's look at this. There you go. That's pretty close to a neutral. Let's pull a little bit more of this white down. Let's put right in here. Add a little bit of white to it so that you can see that better. Okay. The reason it's in proportion, now there's another thing. Every color that comes out of your tube colors has a tinting strength. They're not all the same tinting strength. That means that some of them are stronger than others. The ones that are weaker will require more of themselves being mixed into the ones that are stronger by proportion. So you can't go by the amount that you're picking up. You go by the tinting strength. Ultramarine blue by character is a weaker tinting strength. And so it took quite a bit. The orange here is a higher tinting strength. Okay, let's look at this. There it is right there. There's your neutral. Now, what do we do if you have chosen as your color your blue-green and you're calling it blue, what do you do and how can you make this, if you're using these in a painting and you want more neutral, and when you mix it into the orange, all you get is either an ugly orange or desaturated ugly going towards orange, or desaturated appears ugly going towards blue. Those can be beautiful, by the way, when surrounded by other colors. What do you do? Well, once again, I'm going to rinse off my brush. What you do is you add into it the color that's missing, the color that is the complement of the color it's turned into. And that's one way of saying it. And so if I add red back into this, I think it probably won't take very much of it. Just a little bit of red into that, we should be able to get this. So let's see if I can do it. Now here's a caution. Cadmium red light is a very, very high tinting strength. Very high. So it may be, I may add too much. You see, I'm not adding very much at all here. But you can watch it change to more neutral as I mix it. Right, I should be mixing it with my brush to get a better idea of that. It takes just a little bit more. You have to add a little bit more of the blue into that. It's just a little bit more of the red. A little bit more of the red. And a little bit more of the red. Okay, now it's turned red. Now I'll go back and add a little bit more of the blue-green to that. I may have, this is a high tinting strength, and this is a high tinting strength. So you're really fighting against tinting strengths when we're doing something like that. Let's pull some white down and see what we've got there. So I think my advice would be to, here we go, there we go. That's very, very close. There's still a little bit green. It's very close right there. Let's get it right up here. Yeah. Very, very close to neutral. It's still a little warm, but very close to neutral. My advice to you is when you're in the process of painting and you're needing one of your colors to be more neutral, first of all, reach for the color that you know is in hue exactly opposite. So if you're working with this blue-green, for example, and you want to neutralize that, we'll pull red-orange into it. And red-orange then is that, my red-orange is that cadmium red light. Now let's do a little bit of that and show you the difference. So we'll pull some cadmium red light into the edge of this. I'll just do that right over here. Both of these are high tinting strengths. So, all right, I need a little bit more to pull that down. A little bit more of that right down here. I'm going cautiously with that because it does have such a high tinting strength. So the red-orange should desaturate your blue-green and give you a closer to the neutral. That is if they are exact opposites of each other. There we go. I can see it moving now towards that. And see it better with a little white in it. And you know, just doing color mixing like I'm doing here, just for the sake of color mixing, is there you go, right there, is a wonderful way of getting to know what color does to color, so that you can make these decisions wisely without being frustrated when you're in the process of painting. I'm leaning a little bit towards blue, so that means it needs just a hair more of that red in it. But it's very, very rare when we're painting that we need something that's absolutely neutral. But that, you see, that one's leaning a little bit more towards blue, means I went a little strong on the phthalo blue. It's still not quite doing the job. And I'm going really, really cautiously into the red. And let's see now. Yeah, there it is right there. There's the neutral. That's the neutral that you probably wanted when you were mixing these two. So rather than orange, and first of all, rather than calling this blue, call it blue-green. If you call it blue-green, that tells you what you'll need to do to neutralize it. If you call it phthalo blue, that doesn't really tell you anything. So, but if you call it by its hue name, then you can look across the wheel and find exactly what you'll need to neutralize it. So if you call, of course, this is cadmium red light. That doesn't really tell you. It makes it sound like it's more red. But if you look at this comparison of that, you'll see that it is red-orange and ideal really for neutralizing a blue-green like phthalo green. So get your color wheel out. If you don't have a color wheel, we have free color wheels on the lessons site, which is DianneMize.com. Just clicking free stuff, click on free stuff in the menu and cursor till you find there's several color wheels there. You just need the regular one that has the real names of color around the wheel. And by learning the real names of color, you've got all the information you need right here to show you how to get a neutral from any color that you see on the color wheel. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianneMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.